Shalom Aleichem. Mishnah Yomi for Shabbat Pinchas is in chapter 3 of Kiddushin, Mishnah Dalet. Rabbi Meir Omer. Now, we've been talking about Tanaim, conditions made on a Kiddushin, other things like Gittin. There could also be a Tanai, as we discussed in Masechet Gittin. So, Kiddushin on Tanai. Rabbi Meir has an amazing shita about what kind of Tanai you need, what the language needs to state. He says, Kol Tanai Sho'enu Tanai B'nei Gad V'nei Ruvain Eno Tanai. Any condition that is not like the condition made by the sons of the tribes Gad and Ruvain is not a valid condition. Now, this is in the Chumash, in the Torah, in Parshat Matot, when the children of Gad and Ruvain, later joined by half the tribe of Manasseh, they realize they have a lot of livestock and that the land in the Transjordan, the east bank of the Jordan River, they wanted to settle there because that was perfect land for their livestock. So important to know the east bank of the Jordan, that's Jewish land. And they make a condition with Moshe. They say, if we go and fight with our brothers in Eretz Yisrael, in Eretz Canaan, and we help them conquer and divide the land of Eretz Canaan, then we want to get an inheritance on the east bank in Transjordan. And over in Parshat Matot, Moshe first gets upset. He thinks that they're going to cause division and like a lack of wholeheartedness, and they insist, no, we want to go and fight. We're not going to be lazy. We're going to go and fight with our brothers. And then so the Mishnah says, Shenamar, and he brings the support to Rabbi Meir's opinion. Vayomer Moshe Alehem. Moshe responds to them, Im Yavor b'nei Gad v'nei Ruvain. He says, if you're going to go fight with us. Uchtiv im lo yavro chalutzim. And then Moshe explains that if you don't go, then you're not going to get the land you want in the Transjordan. You'll get land with everybody else. So in the Gemara, they explain that we really learn a few things from these conditions of Bnei Gad and Bnei Ruvain. We learn that it has to be a Tanai Kaful, a doubled condition, meaning if A, then B, and if not A, then not B. Because Moshe tells them, listen, if you go and you fight with us in Eretz Canaan, you'll get this land in Transjordan, and if you don't fight with us, you're not going to get this land in Transjordan. We also learned that the Maisa, the action, has to come before the result in the wording, and the hein kodem l'lav, and the positive outcome before the negative not doing something outcome. But now the Mishnah cites a dissenting opinion here. Rabbi Hanina ben Gamliel Omer, tzarich chaya davar la'omro. He says, you can't bring this as a proof, Rabbi Meir, because really the Torah had to say these words, Moshe's response to Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, that if you don't cross over and fight with us, then you're not going to get the land of Transjordan, or Amalek can. If it were not so, that Moshe didn't explain this, it would imply that they wouldn't get inheritance even in Eretz Canaan. So basically Moshe is telling them, if you don't cross over and fight with us, you won't get land in Transjordan, East Bank, you'll just get land with everyone else. Because if Moshe hadn't said that, we would have thought, well, if they don't come and fight with us, they're not going to get land anywhere. So according to Rabbi Hanina ben Gamliel, really you don't need the Tanai Kaful. You don't need the doubled condition. If A, then B, and if not A, then not B. Now let's go on to Mishnah. Hey, a Mekodesh eta isha ve'amar. A man is getting married to a woman, and then he says, after they get married, Kisafar Haiti, I was under the impression she Kohenet, that she was the daughter of a Kohen. Rahi Leviah, she's actually the daughter of Mr. Levi. Or Leviah Rahi Kohenet. Or vice versa. Oniya v'hi Ashira. I thought she was not rich, and it turns out she had a lot of assets. She's quite rich. Or Ashira v'hi Oniya, or vice versa. Harezu mikudeshet. They are indeed married. Bibnei shelo hitato. As long as she didn't mislead him into this assumption. Now, what's going on here is he's not making a condition. He's not saying, let's get married on condition you're a Bas Kohen. He's just like, he just says, I thought that at the time. Well, if he doesn't put it into an actual condition on his action of Kiddushin, we really don't care what was in his head or his heart at the time if he does not actually state it. And again, this is as long as she's not misleading him into thinking things are not as they were. Now, the Mishnah goes on with some really amazing cases of a Kiddushin that wouldn't work now, but might work later. Ha'omer le'isha. A man says to a woman, Hariat mikudeshet li, behold, you're married to me, la'achar shet gayer. Once I go through the conversion process and I become Jewish. So this man was not yet Jewish, but he was taking classes, he was interested, he was planning to become Jewish, and he met a nice Jewish girl. Maybe that's why he's finishing the process anyway. O la'achar shetit gairi, or after you convert. This is a Jewish man speaking to a girl who's not yet Jewish, but she's in the process. La'achar she'eshtachrer, after I am freed. We're talking about an Eved Kanani that we've mentioned. An Eved Kanani is quasi-Jewish. He's a little bit Jewish, but once he's freed, he is completely and fully Jewish. Or after you are freed, talking to a Shifcha Kananit who's in the same boat, where she's quasi-Jewish, and then she'll become a full Jewish woman when she's freed. This one's really wild. After your husband dies, he wants the marriage to be effective. She's a married woman right now. Or after your sister dies, because the man is actually married to the sister, and a man may not marry two sisters while they're both still alive. Or after your yavam does chalitza to release you to marry someone else. We're talking about a situation we just detailed in Yavamot, where her first husband died with no children, but left a surviving brother. Now the brother could marry her in Yibam, or they could decide to do chalitza to release her to marry someone else. So he wants the Kiddushin to be effective after the chalitza. In all of these cases, Eina Mikudeshet. If she can't get married right now, if someone's not eligible for marriage right now, then you can't say, let's do the marriage now and have the actual halot, the actual legal application of the marriage come later. That doesn't work. Now the Mishnah adds a really great case. If someone says to his friend, hey, if your wife happens to have a baby girl, at some point in the future, I want to marry her, and he's giving the husband, the father, something of value, but there's no kid yet. If he has a daughter later, there's no Kiddushin here. There's nothing here, nothing doing. But what if his wife was actually already pregnant at the time, and it's 4 or 5 months along in the pregnancy, and so it's obvious she's pregnant? Dvarev kayamin. Then if she has a girl, then Mazel Tov, it's a girl, Mazel Tov, she's married. V'im yolda nekeva mikudeshet. If they have a girl, she is married. Now the Rambam says an amazing thing. He says, yes, technically that's true. Technically, yes. But you really need to do another Kiddushin when she grows up, she'ein badofi, that has no questions and no doubts about it. So he's kind of equivocal. Yes, they're legally married, but it's not really a thing that people do. Do not try this at home. So you really should do another proper Kiddushin when she grows up. Tizku mitzvot. And Shabbat Shalom Mevorach.